All right. Hey. I'm back. It's been a while since I've done a live stream for you folks, and we'll give it a second to the bell notifies all of you out there in the YouTube world that I am live once again. So let's see who we get popping on here. We're on a Wednesday evening, back to doing some live streams. So let's just give it a second. We'll let the internet do its thing because many of you are probably sitting down having dinner or you're just getting home from work. But we'll wait just a second here. While we wait, there we go. Got some people on. Hello. So I'm going to go over to the comments, and so you guys can leave some comments today. Welcome back. I'm Palm Beaches Paul, your local realtor and guide to South Florida living. And I'm back to doing some live streams, but I'm going to do a little bit different this time. I'm going to be bringing guests on. So instead of me trying to talk for an hour about what's happening in the real estate market, and there's been a lot going on, I thought it would be better to use this time to educate you guys about what it's like down here as far as buying a house. So we'll have different guests, maybe a mortgage broker, maybe a title lawyer, someone's from a title insurance company, different people that do different services. And today I have just that. I have for you guys a gentleman who I've known for a few years now from doing business, who runs Four Wall Home Inspections, and his name is Mark. And Mark's been doing this for quite a while. They opened up back in around 2006, and he's done thousands of home inspections. So one of the things that's important to know when you're buying a house here in South Florida or anywhere in the world, or at least here in the United States, when we do real estate, is having your home inspected to make sure you know what you're buying. So I'm going to bring Mark on here in just 1 second. Angels, howdy, just came on, have listened to you before, all good. What might be the subject this evening? Well, Angels, we're going to be talking about home inspections and sort of some generalization of home inspections, what you look for, things that can pop up, and just give you sort of an idea that if you're thinking of moving to South Florida or Florida in general, but particularly South Florida, because that's where I practice real estate, some things that may come up or you might want to know about or look for when buying a home versus a condo, an old home, stuff like that. So we're just going to kind of talk and ask Mark some questions. He's going to talk a little bit about the business. And this is just really to educate y'all so you're comfortable and you have a little bit of a knowledge. And hopefully when you are buying, you'll reach out to me. Let me be your real estate agent, and we can go find that house. And then we can contact Mark, and they can get you an estimate and get in there and do a home inspection for you. So, but without further ado, let me bring Mark on real quick, and then we'll give you a couple housekeeping duties. But Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Glad you'd have me on.
Absolutely.
Look forward to this. Love educating people about the inspection business.
Yeah, it's important. Knowledge is power, as my broker always says. So, as many of y'all know, I've done live streams in the past, and we've talked about a lot of things, what's going on in the market, certain things that were affecting the market. And I'll still talk a little bit about that, but I thought it'd be a little bit more beneficial to you. And we're only going to be on for like a half hour right in there. We're not going to push it to an hour. So you get 30 minutes. We get a local expert to answer some questions or maybe just talk to you about some stuff. And, if you send a question, I'll try to put it up on the screen. Again, this is kind of just a generalization. Every home inspection is going to be different. Every property is going to be different. But I think it's some good stuff. And Mark his company was doing an inspection for one of my buyers today. So, and we were just talking to my client about that, and we'll be going over the report. But the market is, from the last time you guys saw me do a live stream, it has gotten, it's been ups and downs. For me, it was slow, but it's gotten real busy. I've all of a sudden got my listing under contract. I've got looking at 2 properties for 2 different buyers tomorrow. And I have a 3rd buyer under contract as we did a home inspection for him. So the market definitely changed. The rent prices are kind of staying steady, but the condo prices definitely dropped. We're seeing a lot of price drops. So I know a lot of y'all were watching that. You saw a lot of my condo videos, and those prices are definitely coming down. I saw a condo that's been on the market for 300 days just the other day. So, and it probably needs to do a price drop. But then there's other properties that are definitely priced well and sellers are giving concessions and stuff. So, if you are looking at that winter property, vacation property, or transitioning to South Florida, now is a good time to look at it. And I think the rates are even being a little bit more favorable. And when you are buying, one of the things that you want to do here in Florida is you want to have your house inspected. You want to know what you're buying. Has this house been well taken care of? Did this house have any issues? Is there stuff that you can't see behind the wall? And this gentleman to my right, and maybe your left, I'm not sure, but he does that. That's what his company does. They go in and they look for that kind of stuff. So, Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, so you can give a little more than what I gave about you and the company and what you do, and then we can go a little bit more into it.
Appreciate it, Paul. As you said, I opened the company back in 2006. I exited corporate life to become an entrepreneur in South Florida. I moved here from the Northeast. Believe me, if I was living in the Northeast, I would not be inspecting homes. But we started back then and we grew it at one point to 11 inspectors. Our company as a whole has done well over 25,000 inspections. I personally have done about 11,000 throughout the years. We are a full service shop. We from soup to nuts, we handle everything for the client. From termite inspections to pool inspections to regular and all the insurance inspections, anything that you need. If we don't do it, we have a vendor who does it for us. As you were saying, we have a lot of people, and the industry as a whole has faced a lot of, for lack of a better description, some challenges over the past couple of years where people were waiving their rights to a home inspection or a property inspection. And as much as we would try to speak with them or counsel them or speak with their agents, there are a lot of things you can skip when purchasing a home. A property inspection is the one you don't want to skip because you need to know what's going on. In South Florida, we're dealing with an older demographics. A lot of times you're selling a home or you're purchasing a home where one of the spouses may have passed away and now they're downsizing. And we'll walk into a house and the person selling the house will say, "Oh, well, my husband handled everything, but I know we replaced the water heater 4 years ago." And when we go and we look at the date of the water heater, it was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that it's another set of eyes. There are other issues, and it's wherever the house is built, it can happen, the type of piping that you may have, or the electrical panels. There are certain electrical panels that the insurance companies down here don't like because they're older or they could be defective. These are things that we are trained on finding and reporting on. And then the other battle is, and I understand that a lot of people they may be stretching a little bit to purchase a home, or because of the cost of insurance, or just the cost to purchase a house. They want to go with the cheapest home inspector known to mankind.
Right.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of inspectors in our industry who have made this a commodity, and they will, for lack of a better term, do whatever they got to do to get the job. But then the quality of the work that your client or our client will receive is reflective of the price that the people paid for the inspection. You want somebody who is experienced. You want somebody who has quote unquote seen it all. I mean, whether you're buying a house built down in what we call the Gables down in South Miami, built in the 20s, or you're buying a brand new home built up here, there are things wrong even with brand new homes.
Oh, absolutely. You guys have done inspections for brand new. Yeah.
Yeah. We will do new construction from slab up.
Yeah.
And
I've always told people, when you do a brand new home, you have a right to have it inspected. Have it inspected. Before you do that blue tape, go, hey, we want to have our inspector look at it, because you don't work for the builder and you're going to work on behalf of the buyer.
One of the things that we have done a lot of recently, and we started getting pushback from the builders and they've stopped, is doing what we call a source scope inspection
Exactly.
on new construction.
I know where you're going with
Because
this.
when you're looking at a construction site, you have all this loose dirt around the house, and all the heavy equipment keeps going back and forth over the ground. And ultimately, when you've got a 40-yard dump truck going back and forth, it causes the main sewer line to have a bow in it. Or we've actually had them where it's cracked them.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. And it's not that the builder's doing it intentionally, but you want to know so that 6 months down the road, when you move into the house, you don't have a sewer main issue.
I've heard that it could even be something as simple as when the people are doing the inspection or I'm building the house, look, I know you got the crews in there, they'll flush stuff down the toilet that, you got these guys working, and some of them will like throw stuff down the toilet that shouldn't be going down the toilet. And you're never going to see that. And you get your nice brand new house and you get in, and then, all of a sudden your toilet starts backing up a week into it. That's a nightmare. And at that point, you're kind
Absolutely.
of SOL. So yeah, I've told a lot of my people who've bought new homes, said, get a home inspection on that brand new house. And back to your point, when we were going through the market after 2021, when the market was hot and people were waiving appraisal, waiving like, hey, look, I'll come out of pocket if it doesn't appraise, I'll cover the difference, right? They call it an appraisal gap contingency. I'll pay the difference. I just want the house, and I'll waive my inspection. I wouldn't let them with me. And what I meant by that is that if they wanted to waive an inspection, they had to sign an addendum releasing my brokerage from any harm. Like, you're not coming and suing me. It's not happening. If you want to be that foolish and buy property without an inspection, that's 100% on you. And I never had a buyer not do an inspection. They understood. I made it very clear. It is it's the best use of $500 or at that time, whatever, $600 that you're going to spend when you're about to buy a $300,000, a $500,000, $1 million house, and you're not going to spend a few $100s to make sure that the house is free of a lot of issues that could cost you thousands of dollars. I'm not sure what you're thinking there, but you're not thinking.
We used to joke and call ourselves doctors. Nobody questions what the cost of a doctor is when you go to see a specialist. So why would you question the price if it's within reason to inspect a property?
Yeah. Well,
the largest purchase you're going to make in your lifetime.
Because it's expensive, like you said, and people are already getting hit with, this and the appraisal and things that we're doing. But even a cash buyer, you're paying cash, get it inspected. It's just so worth it to do it. It's that peace of mind. And as I said, it could literally save you thousands of dollars, especially if you're looking at some of the older homes we have in our neighborhoods of Flamingo Park and some of the places like that, or El Cid. You have these old homes that were built in the 1920s. And although they've been beautifully updated, if they didn't do the, I know I'm saying it wrong. Cast
iron pipes.
Yeah, it is cast iron. Cast iron plumbing. I've heard stories of people who've bought homes and ended up spending $50,000 because their cast iron plumbing was. I mean, they've worked, and I know they can put a sleeve on it, but still, they spent $50,000 after the fact.
Yeah, you're ripping up your front yard, or you're buying a house that has knob and tube wiring.
Yeah. So, so it's such an important thing, and. To let the audience know, in the state of Florida, when you're buying a property, depending on how you negotiate the contract, the standard contract in Florida has the as-is contract, we call it, has anywhere between 0 and 15 days, for inspection. Again, everything's negotiable. But during that time, that is your right to have your house inspected and do all your other due diligence. Look at all your condo docs or your HOA docs. See if you think that driving out of the driveway of your house at that stoplight to work every day is going to become a major pain. That might be a problem. You go, hey, this is, I don't like this. I can't sit here for 15 minutes, wait for lights to change. So, but you have that inspection time. And it's obviously to have a home inspector come in and take a look at it. And a lot of that is important because of also your insurance, right? The age of the roof mark, making sure the age of the roof And is there life left in the roof? That's a big one that I know the audience is probably maybe want to know, and we'll go to that. But I want to let Edward put Edward's question up real quick, Mark. So Edward Banks, thank you, Edward, says, hello, for a condo, is an inspection limited to the unit or does it involve the rest of the building? Mark, I mean, I know the answer to that, but Mark, go ahead.
Well, the standard answer is it depends. Because depending on the community, if it's in a mid or a high rise, generally it's limited to the unit. And maybe the air conditioning system is on the roof. We would get into the central electrical room to look at the electrical main. If we're talking about like a townhouse, which may be deeded as a condo, then we're looking at the exterior of the building. We're looking at it as a connected home versus a standalone.
Okay.
So it really depends on the specific unit. But if it's in a mid or a high rise, yes, it tends to be more limited to the unit.
Edward, if you're thinking because you've seen some of my videos or you've just been watching the news, what Mark's doing is not like a structural integrity reserve, right? Or a milestone inspection. That's a whole different thing. Those are structural engineers, but he can look at stuff within the building, and if they have access to the roof, they can check the AC units, which a lot of times in Florida are way up top on the roof. Sometimes they can get up there and look at those. And also, as he said, a place can be not a single family home, but a villa or a townhouse, but it could be governed by a condo association. That's a little bit more, that's really not so much about what we're talking about here, that it applies to the documents and all that, but it could be considered condo. So, and where Mark was leading to with that is a condo sometimes covers more than an HOA. So some condos, like a townhouse or something, they'll cover the roof. So if it's old, they replace it. You don't have to. So versus a single family home, like a regular house, you're going to have to replace the roof. So,
correct.
Okay. And guys, ask more questions. You know, if you're here, we got an expert on. He can answer a lot of questions for you within reason. But so let's you want to talk about the M word that everyone's always worried about, the big scary.
Oh, are you talking about microbial growth or mold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fun stuff that everyone freaks out about.
And you know what? We do a ton of indoor air quality testing when we do inspections. I'm actually a licensed assessor through the state, so I have a little bit or a lot more knowledge than the standard inspector. And to be perfectly honest, there's mold in every state in the country except Alaska. And the fact is, there's good mold, there's bad mold. There's not a house that we've tested, including brand new homes, that doesn't have some type of mold spore in the air. But the testing that we do, taking the indoor air quality tests, we use a certified lab, and the lab will tell you the type of mold that it is, and it will also tell you if it is a hazardous type versus an everyday type of mold. There are situations, I mean, you leave a loaf of bread out and it gets the little hairy green things growing on it after a while. That's mold. And that's what's considered Penicillium aspergillus, which is in every single house, whether you have bread sitting out or not. It's a common everyday spore. There's no hazard to it. Can there be situations where it is elevated and it needs to be addressed? Yes. But it is not the same as what people call black mold, which would be like a Stachybotrys or a what we call Chitanium. Those are much different types of molds. That is where there may have been a water leak in the walls. There may have been leaks behind kitchen cabinets. And it's a much heavier molecular spore, if we're not getting too scientific. But it is, those type of spores can be hazardous to the health.
Gotcha.
And you can have side effects from them.
I know that you guys have moisture detectors and you do a lot of checking. I see you point the guns at the wall. So
absolutely.
So if someone has no reason to think there's mold and they're looking at a house, you guys usually will be checking. And then if you get a high reading, then you'll be like, hey, listen, we found a high reading. We might recommend that you investigate this further because we can't tear out the wall, because if you do, then we're responsible for repairing that wall as the buyer.
Correct.
If you mess up someone's house during an inspection, you have to fix it as the buyer. They can't just tear the hole. Hey, we put a big hole in your wall. We don't want to buy your house anymore. So
there we carry moisture meters. We also carry thermal imaging. And generally what we're doing is we're using the thermal imaging first, which will show us temperature differences, generally indicating a moisture problem. And a lot of times it's under windows or around windows and doors, around sliding doors. And then we use the moisture meters to confirm whether or not it is wet.
Gotcha.
We do have some competitors of ours where if they find a wet spot on the wall, they'll offer to do what they call a cavity test for mold, where they will drill a little 1/4-inch hole. They'll stick a hose into the wall, and using the same type of mold test as we use in the air, they suck air out of the wall and they go from there. And they tell you whether or not you have mold. Well, every 18 inches, you have another 2x4. So if you're testing one spot, you're only testing that one small little cavity.
Interesting.
And to be perfectly honest, if you resolve the issue of the moisture, whether it's caulking a window or sealing a crack on the outside, or what, it could be as simple, and I had it in my own house when we bought it, a sprinkler head hitting the concrete block.
Yeah.
As long as the moisture is taken away, whatever has grown inside that wall is going to dry and it's going to die, and it's encapsulated. So inside a wall is not generally an issue. We've been asked to do mold tests in an attic, to do mold tests in a garage. And I'll be the first one to tell somebody, you know what, I'm happy to take your money, but no, I'm not doing those tests because it's unconditioned space.
Gotcha.
High humidity, high heat.
So if you had a leak in your roof and it dripped into an attic and they fixed the roof and it's no longer leaking.
No longer dripping.
Yeah. So then eventually whatever was in that attic is going to dry up from that heat and it will kill the mold for the most part.
Correct.
It has to have constant water to keep feeding to grow, correct?
Correct. You need water and you need food.
Okay.
Which is whether it be drywall or wood. We may do an inspection and we're going through the attic and we'll see a white substance on the underdeck of a roof. Yes, it is a mold. If the roof, like you said, has been fixed, that's going to die. But the bigger thing is, if you look around the perimeter outside of a house, we have soffit vents around the perimeter under the roof. That soffit vent helps to vent the attic. So if there are spores in the attic, ultimately they're going to be pushed by air movement and go out the soffit vents.
Gotcha.
It's not going to come into the living space of a house.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So everybody's got a different sensitivity, but for the most part, it's nothing major.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I've only seen a couple. I will say there was an interesting story in the news recently about the condo in West Palm Beach where the snowbirds left for the summer and they put their AC on 78 or 77. We had an extremely hot summer with a lot of rain and a very heavy amount of humidity this past summer. Yep. And that AC unit could not handle the humidity. And when they came back and opened up their condo, it was infested with mold, which is, I mean, it's crazy.
There was something wrong with that unit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what, because we tell people if you're going away for season, you want to set it no higher than 78 to 79.
Yeah.
Once you hit that 80-degree mark, the humidity levels go up and you have problems.
Or if you have the little dehumidifier, the little control for those.
The humidistat.
Humidistat, yeah.
Yeah, most people these days, I would say 80% of the houses and condos we inspect are now using the digitals.
Right.
And they are basically set at about 50% humidity. 50 to
Okay.
51%, which is perfect.
Oh, good.
I mean, you go outside when we get low humidity like we had today, it's 45 or 50% humidity, and we're all thrilled because it's wonderful outside.
Oh yeah, I mean, for anyone that's watching or any of you guys who watch the recording, you see that I'm wearing a shirt and a tie. I was at a meeting today with the school that I went to, I support, and it's like even they were like, "What, are you getting a job interview or something today?" Because I'm always in flip flops or shorts, and
Yep.
it's nice out. I was like dressing like a professional today. I had a jacket on and a tie, and I was trying to look nice. And plus, it wasn't 6,000 degrees out. So, but in the summer, no, forget it. You couldn't
Yeah.
pay me. You can't pay me to wear a tie and a
You
long
were
sleeve
Palm
shirt in the
Beach
summer.
Ball today.
It's Palm Beach Ball, business Palm Beach Ball today. I just threw the hat on just for this broadcast. I actually went with no hat today, so they saw the bald Palm Beach Ball. But all right. So mold, obviously, I mean, happens, but it's not an everyday occurrence. A few people may have it, but most homes I've seen been fortunate not to have an issue with it. Again, it's just going to depend on the house. Let's talk about the electrical panel, because I know a couple things. Let's talk while we're at 26 minutes here. Let's talk about a couple of important things that really, obviously, in inspection, everything's important. But the real things, hey, I got to get insurance mark. I'm going to have to get a 4-point inspection done. So we want to look at plumbing, electrical, the HVAC, and the roof, right?
Correct.
Those are the main things. So let's
Those
start
are
with
the 4 items.
So let's start with that roof. If you're inspecting a house, if my viewers are watching and they're coming down here to buy a house and they see that the roof is older, then it's hard to say, because it could be an old roof and you could still find life in it if it was taken care of. So there's really not a number year. But I mean, if it's a 20-year-old roof and you're inspecting it, you're looking for what, 5 years of life left in it is what they need?
Correct. And it also depends on the type of roof it is, whether it's an asphalt roof, whether it's a tile roof.
Okay.
Asphalt, generally, the insurance companies down here are now calling it at 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
Now, to replace an asphalt roof is obviously significantly less than a tile roof.
Much, yeah.
Where a tile roof here, we're able to extend life expectancy to 25 to 30 years.
Okay.
And it's not the tile itself, it's the underlayment. It's what's under the tile. Tile, honestly, is cosmetic in nature.
Right.
It makes it look pretty. Except if you're in the one neighborhood of the Polo Club where they have black roofs. And it's the dead of summer inspecting a house with a black roof. The attic is 140 degrees. And the roof you don't even want to touch.
Yeah, that's
so. But yeah, the insurance companies are requiring a minimum 5 years life expectancy.
Okay.
So
and I know that you guys have done, like, if you run into an issue, you can maybe get a roof repaired. Certain repairs, they don't have to. Say a buyer's looking and they really want this house, and they can get someone and negotiate with the seller to maybe repair the roof. You guys can come back and reinspect, and as long as it gets that 5-year mark, that should help them with their insurance policy. But guys, keep in mind, the insurance companies can immediately, the year later or 6 months later, whenever, to go, hey, we insurance companies, we're not going to talk about them too much tonight, but they have been known to come back and say, we think you need to replace the whole roof. So, but usually if you get that warranty or something that says it's good, it's got 5 years left in it, that will satisfy them. They're like, okay, we see that the roof's okay, it's in good enough condition, they fixed it, and that's good enough to get an insurance binder on this property.
absolutely. And you want to make sure when you're having those repairs done, you're using a licensed roofer.
Yes.
There are repairs that can be done by a handyman or the local man, but if you're talking about a repair that's dependent on binding your insurance, by all means, use a licensed roofer. I'm sure Paul has his references. We have 3 or 4 roofers that if I pick up the phone right now and say I need somebody there tomorrow,
Yeah, there's some
they'll have somebody there for me.
good people down here. Okay, so roofs one. Let's go down. Electrical panels. So
Electrical panels, the basically the heart and soul of the house.
yeah, so there are a couple of them. Federal Pacific, Zensko, right? That are
Sylvania.
okay. Some of the names.
Challenger is another
Challenger,
one. But
which-
it's interesting with Challenger, they say older Challenger panels, and then when we question what is an older Challenger panel, they don't have an answer.
Of course.
So, and the fact of the matter is, even with Federal Pacific, if the panel is in good condition when we inspect it and we put that it's satisfactory, even though it's Federal Pacific, there are carriers that will bind it, including Citizens.
Okay, that's something I did not know.
Yeah,
I always thought it was
certain
kissing up.
brands, Zinsco, Sylvania Zinsco, they tend to really not like them. Federal Pacific, they don't like, but they will allow it. But at some point, they're going to ask that it be changed.
Gotcha. Okay. And he's talking about the electrical panel, folks, that you have in your house. Some of these companies just, you need it to be replaced, or unless he says he can get the okay on it. And a lot of times that has to be done before you even close on the property. So the seller is responsible for changing that out and getting it done, and then re-inspecting it, and have the inspector have Mark go out and say, okay, they put this panel in, here's proof, here's picture, show it to the insurance company, and you should be good to go. It's very common. It happens quite a bit down here because a lot of the brands he mentioned were very popular, and were just in a lot of builders used them, and they were in a lot of the homes down here. So,
and it was based on the age of when the house was built.
Yeah.
When you think about it, a circuit breaker is mechanical and it's spring loaded. So after 40 or 50 years, it could lose the ability to trip.
Yeah, that's a good point. So electrical, let's go down the drain, shall we say, and let's talk about plumbing. This is one that, in certain neighborhoods, they're there because I've asked inspectors who've educated me over my years of being a realtor, and I kind of tell my buyers. But let's talk about the funny word that everyone worries about.
Polybutylene.
Polybutylene, yes. So
polybutylene was and I have a little bit more expertise in it. When I prior career was in the insurance industry, I actually handled the class action lawsuit.
Oh, wow.
For polybutylene.
Okay.
Polybutylene was the first flexible plastic piping that was created by a company called Zurn Industries, which was owned by Jacuzzi Whirlpool Bath. And to be perfectly honest, the bulk of the issues with polybutylene was not the piping itself, it was the installation.
Oh.
It was the plumbers that were using either the wrong fittings on the piping, or they were using the wrong crimping tools. So what would happen is the crimp would go bad, or the connections would go bad, and you would get pinhole leaks. Several $100 million later, they replaced it in the exact same factory with a product now called PEX. And PEX is like Band-Aid or Xerox. It's a terminology. It's polyethylene, and I can't remember what the last word is. It's the chemical initials for what the piping is made out of.
Okay.
And PEX has been used for decades around the country. If you go up north into Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, they actually use it, and even some housing down here, in the floors or in the driveways. They put radiant heat, where they put it into a manifold system. It's filled with a viscous oil that gets heated. So people turn that on if they're going to get snowstorms, and they don't have to shovel their driveway.
Interesting.
Or if you go into a fancy hotel, the floor of a bathroom is warm.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been in a hotel that has heated floors yet, Mark. I haven't stayed in a hotel with heated floors. I had some nice hotels, but I don't think.
They're more floors up north than anywhere else.
Then I don't go to winter vacations too often because I'm Palm Beach is Paul, and I want the sun and the sand. So
absolutely,
tropical islands is more my thing. So
you want cool.
They're nice to see. Like, hold on, real quick. We have another person just since. So Sula, thank you for watching, and we appreciate you. And hopefully, you're getting something out of this about inspections. If you ever buy a house, or in the future, if you bought, or next time you buy, we're just kind of trying to educate you guys about what to look for and things when you're buying here in South Florida. So I appreciate you coming on. All right, so we talked about plumbing, we talked about roofs, we talked about electrical. South Florida is beautiful right now, and the windows are down, and we're all happy Floridians, and we all got a big smile on our face because there's no humidity. today. But it is the tropics. And after May, actually starting in May, when you see me making videos, folks, and I'm not happy, I'm out there having a heat stroke. It gets really hot here in Florida. So sorry, that's my dog. Apologize. So HVAC, HVAC, because guys, you're not going to use your heat in Florida. I mean, you may. I think I've turned heat on 3 times in 35 years of living in Florida. Okay. Like if the house was freezing, we had to put the heat on. But really, we're talking about the AC, right, Mark? And
Absolutely.
that's like, hey, Mark, is this AC good? Is it reading a good temperature? How old is this AC? And boy, people like to get their money out of their AC units in Florida, don't they?
No, they absolutely do. And the funny thing is, and we laugh about it, air conditioning is not a requirement of insurance in the state of Florida.
It killed me when I learned this. That killed me. Yeah.
You have to have heat in your house. And it's like, why?
I
think we turn our heat on 3 times a year only because we want to burn the dust off the heating elements.
Oh, I set all my fire alarms off when I did that.
Yeah.
My house was raining for an hour. I was like, turn it off, please.
Yeah, we will go in, we'll check everything, we'll run temperatures throughout the house, making sure you've got proper temperature coming out of the registers or going back in. We're going to look at the size and the age of the units. You want to make sure I've had this even with my own realtors. I just had a realtor we deal with down in Weston say, could you come down and do an IAQ test in my house? Because every time I walk in, I start sneezing. I said, that's fine, but when was the last time you serviced your air conditioning unit? She goes, I don't know, about 1.5 years ago. I went, well, that could be the problem. Filters need to be changed every 30 to 60 days.
I do every 30. And
well, you have a dog, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
If there's no pets in the house,
I probably need to clean my vents too. I know my vents need to be cleaned, so
yeah,
I might be hitting
you can actually, with no pets in the house, you can actually go out to about 90 days on your filters.
Interesting.
As long as they're clean.
But I also checked my line. I also learned, because my next door neighbor is an AC guy, and he taught me, and he taught me to clean my line out the proper way.
Yep.
So I've saved myself money. It's like, here, just do that. So
there is actually a product out there now that we've put on my father's house, and I'm about to put on my house, and I'm drawing a complete blank on the name of it, but you see it on TV.
Oh, it's a little thing that you put up there, and it drops the fluid into the line.
It sprays liquid into the condensate line.
Yeah. So
and I will tell you, I have been watching it on my father's house, and the lines are absolutely spotless.
Yeah, no, it's a good little product. Yeah, I've heard
but
about it.
We still do recommend twice a year having the AC unit serviced.
Get your coils.
They come in, they open up the air handler, they clean the air handler, they'll spray it with an antimicrobial just to make sure nothing is growing in there.
Yeah.
And just to make sure that it's running properly, because when it is 92 degrees with an 80% humidity, you want to make sure it's going to work when you kick it on.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure, and again, going back to the digital thermostats, my wife and I both work. So when we leave the house, our thermostat goes up to about 78 degrees. But at 4:30, when the house knows that we are coming home because I programmed the thermostat, the air conditioning kicks on. And it will then, the house will be cool when we get back into the house. We have clients that say, I set my thermostat at 68 degrees and my house will not get that low. And it seems humid in my house. First of all, you are never going to get your house down to 68 degrees in South Florida. I don't care who built your house. Unless you have an igloo, it's not going to happen. And the bigger problem is they keep saying, well, it feels humid in the house. And it is. Because when your unit is running that hard, trying to get it that cold, it does what's called short cycle. So the system runs, but it doesn't run long enough to get the humidity out.
Interesting.
So then you have a constant issue. And then you're also going to own FP&L because your electric bill is going to be through the roof.
We got a question popped over there. We'll maybe put that up in a second. Yeah, it's AC is so important in South Florida. Obviously, we're a hot tropical climate. It's
Yep.
something you want to make sure that you want to make sure that the AC is running in good condition. Again, negotiate, right? We're going to negotiate everything in the contract. You can credits, asking someone to replace the AC, probably not going to happen just because that fact that there's permitting and it's time wise, but maybe you get a credit for the AC. These are all things, but that's why you get an inspection and look at it. And then Mark and his team will tell you what they think the life expectancy of your AC is. Again, they're not AC experts. They're inspectors. They're giving you knowledge of what they do, and they'll look at it from their Mark's experience and say, yes, AC's probably got a few years of life left in it, but you might want to look at changing that because it's probably going to go at some point, right? They can't last. And that's why I laughed, because I said to Mark, because I see these people, oh, my AC I bought it in 1989. It's working great. No problems. It cools the house all the time. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there like, that's why I'm not wearing a suit today, folks. I'm standing in this house and I'm dripping sweat.
And how much is your electric bill every month?
Exactly. So, Mark, I'm going to put this up. I
see it. I see it, and I understand what she's asking.
So please understand, Mark is a guest, and he is not your inspector. So don't take anything Mark says as professional advice for your situation. He's here as a guest to just generalize questions and talk about. If you hire him, he's working for you. But let's take a look at this. So, Sulu, I wonder, can I ask your opinion? I'm looking at a house which my inspector says has dampness in the wall in the basement. The seller says they got their own inspector who says there's no dampness. Again, Mark's not there. He hasn't seen this house. I just have to cover Mark y'all because of,
absolutely.
Just remember, we're just trying to help you. We're not giving you any legal advice or anything here.
So if you could just tell us where is the house that you're looking at, because obviously I've done houses in South Florida with basements, but I think there's 8 of them.
Yeah,
not many, and most of them were custom built homes.
Sula, if you could type us where the house is or what city. Okay.
Oh,
so
Missouri.
We're not gonna know. Okay. Thank you.
I like I said before, I grew up in the Northeast. I understand basements. A basement it's going to potentially have, if it's concrete block walls, yes, there's a very good potential there is moisture in the concrete block, because on the other side of the concrete block is dirt. And dirt's got moisture in it. You can have the wall sealed, but honestly, it's up north and Missouri. I have a lot of friends that are inspectors in Missouri, and it's a situation where it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a situation that you put a dehumidifier in then. I do remember living up north. We had dehumidifiers in houses for during the wintertime and other periods, because there was too much humidity in the air, and this would remove it. And it's part of your heating system. There's always going to be 2 sides to every story.
Yeah.
Actually, there's going to be 3 sides. There's going to be Paul's side, my side, and the right side. No, just kidding. Concrete is a porous material. It will always show some type of moisture. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
And so I empathize with you. I understand you're buying a house can be emotional, and you're relying on professionals, and I totally understand where you're coming from. So, and I appreciate you sharing. Mike says, Mr. Meathook, nice fish, Mr. Meathook. Yeah, that's nice. That's a day on the water. There are moisture meters that can be used. Yeah, Mark kind of addressed that they have different types of meters and things that can use to detect moisture. And again, it's a different situation, Sue, and I hope it works out for you there in Missouri, because obviously that's 2 sides, but meters don't lie. But we're South Florida, but the meter can tell you if there's moisture or not, depending on what's causing the moisture. It may detect the moisture, but it would depend on further evaluation of what's causing the moisture, I guess. Right, Mark?
Absolutely.
So, but thanks, Mr. Meat Hook, and nice fish, brother. I appreciate you
really.
taking time. Yeah, sure. No problem. Hopefully it helps. Again, different state, different rules, different things that apply to your inspections, but I wish you the best with it. And hopefully you end up getting your dream home and everything works out for you. So,
Absolutely.
well, we've gone over 30 minutes, and Mark, I told you it'd be 30 minutes, so I greatly appreciate you hanging around as long as you have to answer the question. I think we've kind of gone over a lot of the things and the basics for an inspection. And if any of y'all have further questions, you can reach out. Mark's got his company right there. It's Four Wall Property Inspections, and you can just Google him and ask him any questions, or if you're going to buy a house, reach out to me. I can put you in touch with them. You definitely want to do an inspection. I'll tell you, I haven't had a client buy a house that didn't do an inspection. I've had a few investors who say, I don't need it. We have our own people. They're like sort of contractors. They know what they're looking for, but they also know that they're doing that at their own risk. And that's on them. They're a different breed, but general consumers, buyers, get an inspection. It's worth it. Even if you have to back out of the contract, which I had clients do, not due to the inspection, but it was during their cancellation period. It was another reason. It had nothing to do with the inspection, actually. But you want to get that inspection for your house so you have that peace of mind and know whether you want to move forward, or maybe you find that it's just too much work and you're like, this ain't the house for me. We found more damage than we actually want to deal with, and maybe you're just not ready to take that on or even deal with any of it. So, but Mark, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. You've always been there to help us out when we needed you, and I certainly appreciate you coming on tonight and talking. And if anyone reaches out to you, they can get a hold of you. I know all your contact information is there on the website and everything. What do you want to share anything with them as far as the easiest way to get a hold of you guys?
Sure. You can reach out to me, obviously, through our office. The phone number on it is 561-676-0546. Or you can go right to the website, which is very easy. It's www.4wpi.com.
Put that up for everybody right there. So that's your number right there, 561.
That's the phone number for the office.
Yeah. So if you guys want to reach out and talk to Mark, if you're buying, if you're working with other realtors, whatever, I mean, that's up to you. Just like mortgage companies, it's up to you who you pick. There is, Mark's nice enough to come on here, but hopefully you choose them. They've been a great company to work with, and they do a good job. So, and I appreciate it, Mark. And are you still crawling under? Are you kind of in a position now where you don't have to go into so many attics?
No, actually, I'm back in the field more than I was. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. The market slowed a little bit, and we've adjusted our staffing some, so I'm helping to cover what's out in the field. But I have very qualified, very well-trained inspectors that have been with me a very long time.
Yeah,
each of them have done over 5,000 inspections.
Yeah, your guys do a great job of explaining it, not only to me as a realtor who has a better understanding, but breaking it down for the buyer who's nervous and explaining to them, here's what you need to look at. And then if we need to go further, if we need an actual expert to come in. And keep in mind, folks, Mark said they know people who do things. There's a few things for y'all who may be coming down here looking at properties with a swimming pool. Well, Mark might not. They may do a general inspection and look at some stuff, but you would want to get a pool inspection done, and they can look for leaks or try to detect leaks. Although, is it true, Mark, the only way to really tell if a pool's leaking is you don't just drain a pool. You can check the pools, right?
No, we don't do leak detection, but there are companies out there that will come in with very high-end thermal imaging.
Okay.
Our thermal imaging is very good, but they will come in literally with a $25,000 thermal camera.
Okay.
Or they pressure test it and they dye test it.
Yeah, I've heard about that, the dye test, yeah. And
it's
then
the same way they'll do a lot of septic inspections.
Right. Septic is another one, folks. If you're looking for a septic, that's a whole different thing. Do a septic.
But we do have the people that work with us for that.
Right. Call that. And then lastly, the one for those that are waterfront looking is a inspection for a seawall.
Yep.
stuff. So that's a whole other thing. So these are things that you want to think about. Seawalls can be very expensive.
Yep.
So,
We've had a few where our inspector, we have a dock and seawall inspector that we bring in, and he actually gives estimates of repairs, and it was one in Highland Beach. And the repair was going to be well over $300,000.
woohoo!
The client was buying a house for 11 million. And he went, okay, whatever. I was like, I would like to be in your house.
Hey, if you're looking to buy an $11 million house, I'm happy.
Paul, Palm Beach, Paul.
Call me. I'll show you South Florida. I'm happy to show you. And if you're looking to buy a $150,000 house, call me. I will work just as hard for you on that. I've done
Absolutely.
it for many people. So, Mark, great. I hope your dinner turns out well, and I appreciate you coming on tonight and answering some questions and hopefully educating the audience a little bit about it. And it's been a good conversation. So thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful evening.
All right, Mark, we'll talk to you. I'll talk to you later. Take care.
Take care.
So let me just say goodbye to Mark real quick. All right, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully you like this. You found some value in this type of video. I'm still going to put out videos. I took a break this past weekend. I'm doing some personal stuff, but I will have a video up this Sunday talking about Delray Beach and some fun things to do there. And I also got some other videos that I'll be working on here in South Florida, continuously bringing you stuff about what it's like to live here, different neighborhoods. I appreciate all the input from you guys asking questions and telling me, hey, can you show us this type of neighborhood, maybe lower price points? I'm trying to mix it up and give you a little bit of all that. And of course, city tours, right? Finding some more cities to do tours and talking about the history and the things that make a city fun to either go check out or possibly live there. So, so hopefully I'll have another guest. I don't know if it'll be every week. We may do this twice a month. Right now, I'm just trying to get a schedule and find guests that will come on and talk to y'all and answer questions. So be sure to leave a comment down below. Tell me what you would like to see. If there's someone that you think would be a great person to bring and ask questions about buying a property here in South Florida, I'll see if I can get them to come on my channel. And with that, I hope you guys have a great evening. And wherever you are in the world, get out, enjoy paradise. I'll see you Sunday morning at 10 a.m.